Now, I'd like to turn it over to the director, Miss Lisa Donato.
Thank you, aGLIFF, again for supporting my work. You all are my family away from family, and I'm thrilled to present my directorial debut with you. Gossamer Folds takes place in 1986, and it tells the story about the unlikely friendship between two sets of neighbors that are culturally taught to hate each other. One is a 10-year-old white boy named Tate, and the other is a 25-year-old Black trans woman. And it's very rare, unfortunately, in media to see a healthy relationship of a trans adult and a child. And we need all the positive representation we can get for our trans community.
Now I want to ask Alexandria and Jen, just being in the film as well, and what the experience was being part of this journey in Gossamer's story to you.
Yeah, for me, it was so exciting. I never got to tell a story, quite like it. So for me, I was super, super excited. I think from the moment that I even got the audition, just reading the lines, I was so moved by just the 10 pages that I got. So I was really, really excited, and just hoping that I would get to tell the story of this woman who in so many ways is just like me. And a lot of her story mirrors my own life. And so I was really, really excited about it.
I didn't really care about the script. Lisa's one of my best friends, and she's like, I'm doing a movie. I'm like, well, I'm going to be in it. She's like, okay. Lisa and I have done a short together before, and we're part of the same circle of friends. So I was just so absolutely thrilled beyond the moon that she finally had an opportunity to make a first feature. It's really prohibitive to make a first feature. A lot of filmmakers create an incredible body of work with short films, but it's really hard to get the funding at that level. Everyone only wants feature directors who've already done a feature, so it's hard to get that first one. And so I was on board right from the start with Lisa, and then when I found out that she was going to cast Alexandra, who's also a friend and someone whose work I have so much admiration and respect for, and who I really enjoy being around. And further, that another friend of ours who Lisa and I worked with on another short film, Ava Shore, was going to be the cinematographer. So for me, it was less about the script and more about just like hanging out with some people I love and making fun art.
Now, Alexandra and Jen, had you worked on anything prior to this, or is this your first time working together, and what was that experience like?
I know Jen and I, we always run in the same circles, but I don't know, did we do any projects?
I'm trying to think of anything we've actually acted together. You've done some stuff that I've written.
Well, yeah, and we've also, we were on Doubt together, which is a legal drama that was on
But not at the same time. I think this is the first time we've ever, yeah, I think it's the first time we've ever acted together.
Yeah,
we already had the friendship that the characters had, so it was very easy just to transition into that. I kind of poke and tease Alexandra a lot, and so that's what my character did. So it worked out really well.
Yes, worked out really good.
Actually, a lot of that was improv in that scene, and I kept it in because I was like, this is so good. So.
And I mean, something that's really striking about the film is it is a period piece, and it does take place sort of right in the heart of the U.S. And forgive me for sort of my lack of queer cinema history, but I wonder if there is a film, if you would have seen this film when it was present in the mid-'80s, do you think it would have been affected as much as it would be now in 2020?
I mean, I feel like it would be considered cutting edge.
Right.
In the 80s, honestly. But what do you guys think?
Well, I know that Alexandra and I wouldn't have had parts in it if it had been in 1986. It would have been a couple of, it would have probably been like Keanu Reeves and River Phoenix in those two parts. So.
Very true. Yeah, no, I mean, I think on the other side of that, I wish that there was something like this that, that I could have seen growing up. I have those images of that represented who I was. And so I would have loved to see something like this, but I think this is the best time for it. I think we're sparking this new conversation about diversity and this conversation about race and all of this in the world. And so I think it's the perfect time for it. And I think everything happens just when it's supposed to. And so now people can receive it in a positive way, and not as if we're just trying to throw the trans thing down your throat, you know, and they understand that, you know, it's time, you know, we have to have these conversations. So I think it's a great time for it.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and no, it's great to see more trans representation played by trans actors in queer films now, obviously. And I mean, that was sort of what I was getting at with the question. And so it was wonderful to see. And I'm glad that both of you, you know, are in the film, and you're both incredible in the film. So that's just, you know,
Yeah, thank you.
just wanted to give you praise as well for your roles in the film. And Jen, if I may ask you real quick, I mean, you had worked previously with Lisa on a couple short film. And what was the experience like going from a short film and then working on a feature with Lisa?
It was, whenever you watch your friends, there's a special thrill that comes with watching your friends succeed. And like, I know that Lisa is, you know, a badass boss bitch who knows what she's doing, who knows how to lead, who has a particular vision, and is someone that over the years I've developed trust in and confidence in. But to see her do that, not just with, you know, 15 people in a small set, but, you know, 50 people, you know, in this big set that's going back and forth between houses, and they're coordinating different scenes, and she's heading all the departments. And to see her do that with such, you know, kind of grace through the whole thing, and the power, and to see her succeed at that level, I was just kind of beaming with pride most of the time. And same with Alexandra, just to like watch her work at that level, to see Alexandra in a lead role. Just watching your friends succeed on a new scale is deeply gratifying.
Lisa, do you have any comments to that?
I mean, yes, I have so many, but you know, I feel like I'm in a unique position with Jen specifically, you know, for your question, is that I've seen Jen grow in a way that I've been so lucky enough to witness. And when she was coming to set for Gossamer Folds, she was coming from the set of Tales of the City. Mm-hmm. And did you already shoot Miss Fletcher at that time too?
No, it was right between Tales of the City and Mrs. Fletcher.
Okay, so you had just shot your single episode, which is just phenomenal. And you know, coming from the short, there you are, and then seeing you and seeing just kind of like another layer of confidence. It was so, you know, directing a feature is so fucking hard. And to have Jen kind of sweep in at that time and have that kind of confidence and be there at that time was it was essential for me. They always say, like, when you direct features, I don't know who they are, but they say this, you know, your ship is going to sink eventually. And you basically got to figure out who you want on that ship to sink with you. And, you know, I think about like Jen and Alexandra and Ava and a couple of other people that were there that just made it so important to be there. So
thanks for wanting to go down the ship with us. Glad we can die with you, Lisa.
Yes.
Okay. Got a couple questions here. This one is for Lisa and Alexandra. This is from Julie. My partner and I love the movie. We have different views on the ending. She thinks that the dad wrote the letter. I think that Gossamer wrote the letter. Who did it?
Ooh.
Alexandra, you want to answer from Gossamer's perspective?
Yeah, we well, I mean, I think I can say that, right? I mean, I wrote the letter. So I did write the letter. I think we wanted to make sure that we showed, because I know there might have been some speculation of like, oh, she's missing and what happened to her. And so, yeah, I think that was a beautiful moment that we wanted to show that it wasn't about her missing, right? She had to go off and follow her dreams, and she couldn't do that where she was. So I think that's such a beautiful part of the film, that, you know, she still gets to go on and live her dreams in New York and be happy, but she didn't forget about, you know, Tate and the relationship that they had together. And so that was just her way of, because I mean, even myself, when I watched it, I was like, no, she left him. You know, she just left him, because you don't know what to expect after it's all edited and stuff. And so I was so like, oh my gosh, I just felt for this young boy. And so I think it was a beautiful way to kind of tie that in.
I've got to say, I really particularly love that ending too. I felt like if this movie were made 3 years ago, and if it had been made by mostly cis people, I think Gossamer would have died. I think there tends to be this trope when cis people portray trans people as them having to have some kind of like noble death. Like there's something to be kind of tragedy as a lesson for the cis people all around them. And I think because of Lisa and her sensibilities and all of her friendships with trans people, she wanted to go, further than that and show someone you can still have the same emotional impact and have particularly, a Black trans woman actually go on and succeed rather than die as a lesson for someone else.
Yeah, and actually the Gossamer dies in the original script, and we changed that ending. No, I think it's important.
Yeah.
Also, in a magic wand world, if we had enough budget, I really wanted to end the film with seeing Gossamer in New York City like 20 years later, or in present day, and maybe Tate comes and visits her, and they just share this look inside like a design.
Oh my God, I'm gonna cry.
I know.
That would have been so sweet.
I wanted the ending. I pitched it, and we just did not have the money. And maybe there's a part 2 of that. But I wanted the film to really end with Gossamer. Like in her moment, in present day. But
well, and follow up to that, do you think Gossamer succeeds in New York?
Hell yeah, she does. Look at her.
As performed by Alexandra Gray, there's no doubt she would succeed.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, I think she's very, very determined. And I think sometimes you just have to get up and leave. And that's sort of what I did when I was back in Chicago. I just had nothing to lose at that point. And so I just packed up and I just left, and sometimes you have to do that, and you can't necessarily be considerate of everyone's feelings. And it's like, sometimes you just have to go and find out who you are. And I think that she does go off and find who she is. She sends him that button along with the letter. And so I think that's just to let him know that I'm okay. I'm safe. I'm happy doing all the things that, I always talk to him about that I would do and that I wanted to do. So I think that she would definitely make
it. Agree.
Okay. Got another question here from Matt. Can you talk a bit about the incredible 80s selection for the soundtrack and how you got Sarah McLachlan to record a song for the film?
Yeah. So my creative process actually starts with music. I'm a huge music fan. I think music is probably my first love. And before I start any project, I make a playlist. I make a playlist for scenes. I make playlists for characters. I make playlists for my crew. And I just try to get us all in the same tone musically. So I really picked every single song in that movie before, we were even in editing process. I had already had it on the soundtrack. And for Sarah McLachlan, and also my wife is a huge 80s fan, and she had a lot to say with that. So like Bronski B and, a couple other ones, she had a say in that. Sarah McLachlan is like my childhood idol. She was one of my first music obsessions. Probably how I learned how I was gay at a Lilith Fair in 1997. And when we got attached to our amazing composer, who is Aaron Zigman, he asked me, he's like, if you had a magic wand and you had anybody to write an original song, who would it be? And I was like, well, Sarah McLachlan. I think she has the right, she's an artist that can she can hold these ideas of like bittersweet, like sadness and happiness, like these two dueling emotions together. And I feel like she was perfect for it, not just because I loved her. I felt like she could really do it. And so it was a shot in the dark. We reached out to her producer, We sent her a very rough cut of the film. She responded to the film. She loved it. And like a month later, she sent me a first draft of an original song. And then we brainstormed from there. And now she's going to be releasing it pretty soon. So.
Gee, did you get to meet her?
No, I haven't met her yet.
Oh, okay.
I hope we do. I hope we do some kind of Zoom event where I get to meet her. But
okay. No, and I mean the soundtrack's great with like Cocteau Twins and Bowie and Susie Sue and Banshees, and yeah, I mean it's definitely it definitely fits the film and you know, the thematic material in it for sure. This isn't so much a question, but more of just a shout out from aGLIFF board president Cassandra. Hey, Lisa and Jen, I love you and miss you. Thank you for being part of the festival. We appreciate support and we love your work. Heart, heart,
Thanks.
heart, thank you.
Thanks, Cassandra. I'm so glad she's still involved with y'all.
love you, Cass.
Actually, the thank you was for me for not killing the trans character.
Ah,
So, yeah, and I mean, you know, as I told Lisa, you know, this is such a beautiful and touching film, and Lisa had sent me a few cuts of it, and so to see it in its final product, it really shaped up quite a bit, and you know, I'm just extremely proud of everyone on this film, and Lisa especially, and you know, having such great actresses as Alexandra and Jen involved in the film. I mean, it's really moving, and I just wonder, you know, what now that the film is going to be out there, I mean, you're going to start this festival run, and obviously we wish that we could have had everyone involved to be at aGLIFF in Austin this year, but in person, but you know, this is the best next scenario that we had. But you know, moving forward, what do you hope that, you know, audiences and other you know, people that see the film take away from it?
Well, I mean, I want people to, I don't know, walk away and have a better representation of who a trans person is. I mean, I tell people all the time that this film is for your rural next door neighbor who thinks they have never met a trans person. And it kind of like is that through line to starting a conversation that they've never had before. And that's been my experience in the last 2 years working on this film, is that we would screen it, you know, at Universal or all these different studios, and the sound people, everybody would start watching the film and they would just be blown away, and they would just stop and have a conversation with us, and they wouldn't let us go because they just wanted to talk about this. I mean, to the point where they're like, and Alexandra is trans? What? Like, I mean, they were blown away by stuff, and they wanted to ask questions that I don't think they've ever been able to ask. And that's really important to me. I want a conversation to start in communities that have never had this conversation or never even thought about this conversation. And I want this film to play in theaters in person next year at a big level, honestly. I mean, Alexandra, what's your magic wand wish?
Yeah, I think for me, you know, I think when I first started out as an actress, I just wanted to be like on TV, and it was fun and it was what I love to do. But then I just think at some point my purpose started to surface of like why I'm doing this and why we tell stories, or why we should be telling stories. And yeah, there's the business aspect, there's the money aspect, but you know, there's the social aspect of it too, right? And the responsibility there. And so for me, I want it for everyone. I want it for other trans folk and people of color who never get to see themselves on the big screen. You know, I've never seen a feature film where a Black trans woman was the lead of it. You know, I saw my friend was in Tangerine, you know, but that's just one film that I can think of, right? And maybe I don't know, right? But I just want to see more and more, because I just think people need to see themselves in every aspect. And so I'm hoping that it sparks a conversation. I'm hoping that cis folk watch it and they're moved by it, and everyone just, I think it's a movie for everyone to see that love is love. And at the end of the day, we're all just people. And I know that sounds a little bit cheesy, but it's like, we're all just people, right? Nothing that I do in my life will affect you. So why not just support me and love me? So I hope that that's what people, the humanity from the film, I hope that's what they take.
Okay, and we got 2 quick questions actually. One, is there more Jen that didn't make it into the film?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
No. I was only there for, I think, 2 days, and I was so sick. I was literally only conscious for the scenes we were filming, and then just like literally passed out unconscious until I was needed again. Because I just come off of filming, I think 2 or 3 shows in New York, and Tales of the City was really intensive, and I got really, really sick. I had completely lost my voice. I could only do a couple of takes. It was pretty raw.
Yeah.
I just want to add real quickly too that my hope for this film is that Alexandra gets a lot more work. She is so beautiful and so talented, and just, you know, when we were watching it the other day, I just turned to my partner and it's just like, Alexandra just has it, like that thing that like where someone comes on screen and you just want to watch them. You immediately care and you get invested. And that's something that can't always be taught. Some people just have it, and Alexandra does. And so I just really hope. I don't mean it though.
Don't start this here, okay?
So I hope she gets a lot more work, and likewise with Lisa. I hope someone sees those beautifully scored montages and just starts throwing money at her to make things. So those are my hopes.
Yeah, and I think I'm so appreciative of Jen as well, and I'm really glad that she came on board to do it, because her and I I always feel like we kind of we're coming up in the industry together, because we've been in the same audition rooms with each other. We've rehearsed together. She's helped me with auditions in the audition, waiting room. So it was really special to share that moment with her. And I don't know why I'm getting a little emotional. I think, it's a tough business, right? It's a tough business. We're in the middle of a pandemic, so I'm all in my feelings. But it was just, I thank you for saying that. And Jen has always been so supportive, right? She's so woke. You know what I mean? She's one of those people that is so woke. She understands everything that's happening. And I really appreciate it that she uses her platform in a way that maybe I feel like I can't use mine to speak up and to advocate. And sometimes I feel like I'm taking 2 steps forward to go 2 steps backwards. But I just really am thankful for that kind of connection that we had and that safe space on set. And I'm so proud of her. She's doing so many amazing things. And to just watch it, it just makes me so happy, and I'm inspired that, we're making progress. We're all going to be out here series regulars and just doing everything that we ever dreamed. So, just had to say that.
Love fest.
Yeah, no, and rightfully so. I mean, Alexandra, you're amazing in the film, and yes, Jen, it's always great to see you on screen and part of Lisa's films, and just the whole collection of this whole entire film was really, really moving. And I hope that there is, more conversations about it and more trans representations in lead roles, and that's something that we need to strive for in this industry, in the queer community as well. So
can I say something else too that just kind of occurred to me, is that so many times when we see trans representation on screen, especially when it's a cis person, it's usually all about the transition and like all about the stresses and like having like a person go from male to female and what that means and do they pass and all that. And what's really powerful about this film, I was thinking about when Lisa mentioned like people who think they've never met a trans person and probably have, is that when you only tell those kinds of stories, it's like you're reducing the entire human story down to puberty, like just this one moment in a trans person's life. And I really love that this film centers a trans woman who's 10 years or whatever into her transition and just living her life. Because that's a totally different set of values, and it changes the way that we think about trans people, and hopefully subverts that notion that Lisa says, that people think that they don't know trans people, in part because they only ever see a certain kind shown in films. So this really changes our understanding. It makes it in a much more subtle way.
Love that.
Yeah, I agree.
Any more questions?
Do you want to answer something about location? Because it mentions Louisiana, even though the film takes place in Kansas. Was it mostly filmed on location?
Oh, so the film was filmed in Hammond, Louisiana, which is about 45 minutes outside of New Orleans. But the story takes place in Kansas City, so we kept it true to the script, and we just made it look like Kansas City, or suburban Kansas, basically. But I don't think it really matters. I think it could take place in any suburb in the 80s, really.
Right.
Yeah, there was nothing there, nothing. I think like the most exciting thing we had was, I think we had like an old country buffet or something like that. It was really, really great. 2.5 months. Yeah, it was wonderful.
The greatest thing we had was tacos and beer.
Yeah.
That place, that joint, tacos and beer. I love
it. Lisa, did you tell them I actually gained a lot of weight for the role because I was trying to really get into character.
Yeah.
And, so I gained about 30 pounds for the role. And so I just had to throw that in there. So
yeah.
if I look a little bit different on camera, is because, I was getting into character.
Yeah, she's a method actress. Thank you so much for doing that, by the way. Like, when I first asked you to gain all that weight, I didn't think you would do it, but
yeah, I was going for the Oscar, so
I know. Well,
yeah.
Trust.
And lastly, someone says here, it would have been great to pair up with a publishing company to provide little dictionaries for a special draft house screening of this.
Oh yeah,
that's a really cool idea. Cool. We could actually do little dictionaries of like what to say and what not to say, like trans lingo or like LGBT type stuff, something educational. What do you think? Like a queer dictionary?
The faggot tranny dictionary has all the words that you can't find in the regular.
Exactly. That's actually a fun little swag. I'll bring it up to our PR team. I like it. Thank you, Donald.
All right. Well, I think we've ended the Q&A here, but I do want to thank all of you again for allowing aGLIFF to screen Gossamer Folds as our secret screening. So Alexandria, Jen, Lisa, thank you so much for joining aGLIFF tonight, and wish you were in person, but we're glad to have you even if it's over Zoom. So thank you again so much.
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Good luck with the rest of the fest.